Now it is time for 7.3, and honestly, the final boss of this chapter is one of my favorites, if not my favorite overall. The Kang boss in this chapter is such a fun fight, and I cannot wait to finally come face to face with him. But first off, we have some other bosses here, and Archangel just invalidates pretty much every single one of them. Archangel is so crazy, man. He is such a crazy strong champion. When he works, he just works so well, and this fight is proof of that. He is just shredding this Red Goblin, but to be fair, the Red Goblin also had pretty much no nodes, so it wasn't the biggest deal out there, but that was still like a minute for a boss fight, which is super incredible. And here we have CGR versus this CGR, a nice little mirror match here, and this is no big deal either. A very slow fight, but once we get going, CGR is just, one of the best damage dealers in the game. And even a rank 4 ascended CGR still just puts in a ton of work for me. But I am worried because once I beat 7.3 and 7.4, I have Act 8 Chapter 1 up next. And Act 8 Chapter 1 has some massive health pools, so I don't know if my rank 4 ascended CGR will cut it. So I might have to rank 5 him, which isn't a bad thing in the slightest because a rank 5 ascended champion is pretty much a rank 3 6-star. So that seems like a really powerful CGR to use for Act 8. And Act 8 is going to be a slog, obviously, because like I said, the health pools are super high there, but hopefully, Archangel can just carry Sandman. Sandman should be great because with those higher health pools, he will be able to ramp up much higher, and Sandman is a ramp up champion. But there is CGR down, and now we have this Dark Spidey, and this Dark Spidey has Be Like Water, and Be Like Water is one of the most annoying nodes ever, especially because my champions that are ranked up are all primarily debuff heavy characters. So whenever there is this node, it is just such a massive pain, man, because Be Like Water means that whenever I inflict a non-damaging debuff, they go unblockable for 6 seconds. And like I said, my champions are really reliant on debuffs, so having that is just super annoying. But Archangel doesn't care, so that was that, man. Just a really wild matchup. It was supposed to be bad for Archangel, but he just doesn't care because he disables the nodes. And speaking of disabling nodes, it's a bit harder to do it for this boss because Sorcerer Supreme has increased ability accuracy at base, so you can't really shut off her abilities, but you can still do a ton of damage with Archangel at least. So that was the game plan here, just do damage and watch out for the unblockable because this has steady build up unblockable, which is smart because Sorcerer Supreme has base ability accuracy, right? But then steady build up gives her even more ability accuracy, so she's pretty much impossible to shut down. So a really good node set here for her, but Archangel still doesn't really care. This boss fight is pretty short as well, and he shredded 3 out of 4 of the bosses so far. Will it continue? Who knows, right? Who knows? But she is now down, and that wasn't too shabby in the slightest. Hold on. Now she's down. Okay, perfect. And now we have the embodiment of pain. Just such a brutal matchup. This Warlock boss is terrible, and the worst part was, this was my best option for the bosses because the Cable is borderline impossible without 5 champions, and Elsa Bloodstone is just also a very miserable fight. So I pretty much had no choice but to go with this Warlock here, and that's saying something because this Warlock is, in my opinion, one of the worst bosses in all of Act 7, even just in general probably, without a proper counter. With the proper counter, he's just a nothing fight, but I don't have the counters on this account, so I'm just in a very rough situation. And this guy has Ebb and Flow Heavy, which means whenever he gets knocked down with the heavy attack, a timer starts. When it expires, he purifies all debuffs, and my champions are all debuff reliant. So yeah, that's very fun. And then it's Warlock, right? So he has the Infection, which disables your ability sometimes. It is just such a not fun fight. Is it doable? Yes, that's why I picked it. But is it still just really annoying to deal with? Absolutely, man. So here I revive CGR because he is my best option for this matchup, and even CGR I just can't really get going with, unfortunately. It's there I mess up big time, but that was just my mistake. That wasn't his fault. I just played it terribly. Here I get some damage, thankfully, But yeah, it just didn't really lead to much, and I am pretty much done for here. So that was a poor attempt for sure. That was all on me. Like, that was not CGR's fault in the slightest. I drop it again, and yeah, not too shabby, I guess. We got like 30% down, so it could have been worse for sure. And now we have to try Cassie Lang, but this is just miserable. This is just such a terrible matchup for her because he purifies the debuffs, and you can't do any damage, right? So it's just, no, it's just not good in the slightest, man. Yeah, I don't even know why I tried it here. It just didn't work. But if it saves the revive, then it saves the revive, but it ends up not saving a revive because I mess up and I just do not make it past, soloing this fight, which is fine. Using 2 revives on a boss, first time that I've done this in all of Act 7, so it was bound to happen anyway. But now we have CGR, and he just gets the fight down, thankfully. And now we have the big bad Kang boss, and this Kang boss is really, really fun. So this is how he works. There are numbered icons at the top of your screen there, and it says like either 0, 1, 2, or 3. Now if it says 0, then you want to be at 0 bars of power whenever his timer expires. If it's at 1, you want to drop an SP1 whenever the timer is active, or you want to have at least 1 bar of power whenever the timer is about to expire. And you just want to keep doing that. And with this Kang boss, dodging or blocking his special attacks, gives you either power or it drains your power. So it's a really fun fight because you control your power that way, and it can be a really fun time, or it can just have like the worst RNG ever with the special attack ordering. So yeah, it's a pretty cool fight overall, and it has been a while since I've done this fight, probably like a year or 2 ago. When did 7.3 come out? It's been a year, right? Over a year at least. I don't really remember, but yeah, it's been a very long time. So I am just trying to get refreshed here. And yeah, it's a really fun fight. What I like about this boss the most is that he can be taken with pretty much anyone. And I love bosses like that because when you're trying to progress on an account, you won't always have the best option for bosses, right? But thankfully, some of these bosses like Gwen Master, Kang, even the Superior Kang, and even Bahamut, all are pretty much doable with any champion in the game. So you can play your favorite champion, you can progress with your favorite characters. There really is no need to rank up a certain champion for this boss fight because while there are champions that do it better, the fact is most champions can do it no matter what. So that's always a nice thing, and I like the direction with these boss fights. Like for example, 6.2 champion, impossible without a nullifier or something. Collector, impossible to solo pretty much besides a few champions or like any really high ranked champion. Like those bosses, while they are like good challenges, they aren't really friendly for like progressing accounts, right? But this fight is going well, and this Kang also has some different modifications per each phase. And what changes is he either gives you more power or he drains more power from you depending on the phase. So it can make things a bit harder for sure, but for the most part, it is pretty easy to maintain the power and get the correct special attack that you need. Like, it's really not impractical. Like, this is a very practical boss fight. It's a pretty safe boss fight as well. So once you learn him, he really isn't that bad in the slightest. So yeah, Elsa Bloodstone is doing pretty good here despite being a rank 1 champion. And while this is a slow fight for Elsa Bloodstone, it's still a doable fight, which is the most important thing. Like, I can take forever, but at least I'll save some revives. And I don't survive, unfortunately, but that's fine because I have more champions to use. And Omega Sentinel does fine here. Like I said, there isn't a direct counter to this boss. Maybe CGR because of his super strong damage output, but I'm saving him for last as like my safety net. And also, there is one final phase where he and you race for like the SP30. It's really fun. It is a really fun final phase. And any power gain champion really cheeses it. So having CGR there who has power gain makes it a pretty easy last phase. But like I said, you can do it with pretty much any champion that you want. And Omega Sentinel here, still doing very well. Almost wounded again. Just need to drop an SP1. And then just need to bait out this 0 power phase and then we'll be good. I do admit though, getting like the 0 power challenge and then the 3 bars of power challenge is really not fun because it is a massive build up. But besides that, it's very doable, and then here I mess up and I just don't survive. No big deal. And now we have CGR just standing alone here. Well, I guess Sandman's alive too, but let's try CGR out. So CGR, like I said, is really strong for this fight because of his really powerful damage output and the power gain as well. So those two things combined to make him probably the best option for this. It really has to be him. Maybe Hyperion is better, but I feel like CGR just has that massive benefit from the wounded phase, right? So let's just take it slow here. Drop the SP1, no big deal. Let's just bait out his SP1 and then get some more power from that to help build up to the SP3. And then afterwards, we're just in a good spot. So here I drop it after I bait out the SP1 again. And a side note, his animations are just so good. This boss is so well designed. I wish Kang got an overhaul buff and they just made these special attacks the playable Kang special attacks, right? I would love that to happen, but very unlikely. They don't buff trophy champions for some reason, which I guess makes sense, but I wish they did. Like as a side thing, not like a main buff or anything, just like on the side, like a really random one. But I mean, I guess he does have the Apocalypse synergy, which is something. But I want more, man. I want more from Kang. I know he's good with Apocalypse, but I don't know. I just want more. But we're almost to the wounded phase, thankfully. Just need to bait this one out, and I think we get it. So I just need to do literally nothing and I'll be good here. But I don't do that and I hit him for some reason. But now he's wounded, so we can just do our damage. So I dropped the SP2 and it does, yeah, a good amount of damage. And now we're in the final phase. And my judgments have reset so I can get the power gain active immediately. And then check this out. It is now a race to the SP3 after this. It is such a fun time. We're both gaining power and we're both trying to get to that SP3. Whoever wins first gets to throw it and gets the one shot, which I thankfully do. So that is the 7.3 Kang boss down. A very fun final phase. It is honestly such a blast, man, because it is just a race to the SP3 and whoever wins is the victor of the final boss challenge. So CGR gets it done, not too shabby. No revives as well, so not too bad in the slightest. And yeah, that is 7.3 complete. So one more chapter and then we have the big Act 7 rewards opening. I cannot wait for that. And there is Kang all down and whatnot. But this is not the end of Kang because he gets even mightier and even more difficult. So it should be a fun time. Maybe, maybe not. Maybe Kang is just super annoying for me and I cannot do it. Who knows, right? But there it is, the completion rewards. And they get better, at least. There's a selector at minimum, and there is 2 6-star crystals to open, so I'll take that at least. So let's open those crystals, man. Let's hope for something good here. I have worked really hard for this reward set, right? So just please something that's worth it, man. From here, give me tech, give me science, give me skill, just something that I can use immediately for 7.4 and 8.1. So there's skill. Please come back. I need you ASAP. Not cosmic. Please not cosmic. And we get tech. Now tech is perfect for Omega Sentinel. So she goes to rank 2 pretty much instantly now. So I'll take that for sure, man. But now the 6-star crystal opening. Just please something good here, man. Something great for Bahamut or Scatalis. Something that can just be a great path clear in 8.1. So please just something good here, man. The reel looks amazing. There is Stark Spidey. There is Spider Ham. There is Clairvoyant. So please, man, just give me something decent here. I saw Odin as well. Would be fantastic. There is Gwenpool. There is Stark Spidey again. There is Red Hulk. And we land on a 6-star version of Night Thrasher. Now, he wants Max Sig. And still at Max Sig isn't really all that. So I'm not really too fussed about this. Just an okay pool. I guess he has the Darkhawk synergy, which is good for if I want to rank up Darkhawk, but I don't think I do. So yeah, not the best time, but this reel looks even cooler, man. There is Thing, there is Blade, there is CGR, who I'd appreciate for sure. Just something of value here. I saw Magneto X as well. That'd be so good. But the crystal stops, and it stops on a 6-star version of not Magneto, but Captain America, the bad one. One of the bad ones, right? So that is fantastic. This opening was so tragic. I mean, Night Thrasher and Captain America, it doesn't get much worse than that, I guess. It really is unfortunate. But there's the roster. We have rank 2 Diablo, we have rank 2 Omega Sentinel coming up, and we have the addition of Night Thrasher and Captain America, who are gonna be pretty much useless. But yeah, we got it done. 7.3, King is now down. Now next up is the Future King, which is very, very scary. And yeah, that's about it for me.